How can each of the 16 personalities be more attractive? And no, it doesn't require you buying any fancy creams or lotions.
Great creams and lotions.
And I know, some of you are like,
Oh, Frank's just gonna say what the weakness of each type is and how to fix that.
no, nay I say. In fact, the way I'm gonna approach this is looking at things that make each personality type fairly attractive and finding ways to perfect what you've already got going on for you. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, just fine tune it. Shakespeare said that. Now, ESTPs have the cool factor going for them. They bring the party wherever they go and they know how to have a good time. However, a problem that ESTPs face is that they can become too cool, to the point where they become a little standoffish or even mean to others. It's like being cool means you appear unaffected by stuff, but if you take that too far, you just appear aloof. To maximize their attractiveness, they just need to be a bit more approachable and maybe a little bit nicer. It doesn't matter if you are the coolest person around, because if you come off as abrasive or self-centered, people aren't going to want to be around that too long. ESFPs are the people you want to have around if you want to have fun, because they have nearly limitless energy and they can always brighten up a room, just like every victim on every true crime show. He always brightened up a room until he was murdered. Anyway, the thing that can push others away, though, is that the ESFP doesn't ever really want the fun to end. And because of that, hey guys, let's do this. Hey, oh, this is fun. Hey, look at me, I'm doing this fun thing. Come on, guys. It can seem like attention seeking and exhaust others. I know, that's not what you intend. I'm just saying this is how it comes across sometimes. ESFPs are like, no, I want attention. Guilty as charged. For ESFPs to maximize their attractiveness, they need to recognize when it's time to take a break or when it's time to shine the spotlight on someone else. Let someone else be the victim in a true crime story. The attractive traits of an ISTJ are stability and tenacity. If you want someone who's going to keep their promises and stick with you through struggles, you'll like the ISTJ. No, Frank, I want someone who will not stick with me through struggles. I want someone who will abandon me. ISTJ is not for you. Sorry. Ironically, what limits the ISTJ's attractiveness is just how dedicated and stable they can be. Sure, it's great to stay on a schedule, but sometimes their routines can make the important people in their life feel secondary or secondary if you are in England. It's like if an ISTJ's crush asks them out on a Friday night, the ISTJ might turn them down and say, well, you know, I would, but on Fridays, I always meal prep for the next week and I watch my favorite shows. A true crime show about someone who brightened up a room getting murdered. It could even just be you go and hang out with your crush, but they're like, hey, why don't we go try out this bowling alley? And you're like, I don't really like bowling. I'm not gonna do it. For ISTJs to maximize their attractiveness, they need to be open to breaking out of their routines and schedules, especially in regard to the people they care about or who could be potential partners for them. Now, an ISFJ's attractiveness comes from both their patience and their willingness to help. They tend to be life's natural supporters, lifting up those they love. A problem they face is not focusing enough on themselves. Basically, they can struggle to build their own identity. They instead define their identity by their relationships with other people. So they can get really caught off guard by individualized questions like, hey, what do you do for fun? The ISFJ might very well answer, well, my friend Robert likes to do blah, blah, blah. And my other friend, James, he likes Frank, you are terrible at coming up with examples. So to someone else, this can make the ISFJ seem, well, boring. When in reality, it's more simple. It's just that they haven't put a ton of thought into questions like that and maybe even feel a little bit uncomfortable when the spotlight is on them. To be more attractive, ISFJs need to make sure they cultivate their own personality and not just remain a reflection of their friends and family. ESTJ's attractiveness comes from their authoritative and hardworking personalities. They're always looking to organize things and get work done ASAP. A problem for them is that because they are always looking for something to do, they can find themselves getting frequently distracted, especially from non-work things like relationships. It's like you're on a date with someone and they leave for 15 minutes to take a business call. Not good, folks. It doesn't exactly make you feel appreciated or desired. To be more attractive, the ESTJ needs to learn when to turn off work mode and to embrace those less productive moments in life, like just relaxing relaxing with other people. The ESTJs need to be able to identify a task that needs to be done, a thing on their to-do list that they could very well do right then, and then let it go. Let it be. ENTJs are attractive because of their competitive nature, which often leads them to compare themselves to others and thrive in competition. Well, yeah, of course, because I said competitive nature. Because of this, ENTJs can build up a wide collection of accomplishments and trophies, whether literal or just like trophies of the mind. Like, I did that thing that one time. That was cool. I was the best. And that can lead them to feel like they are better than others around them. And they're not just making it up. Like, they can point to stuff and say, yeah, I beat out a bunch of people. Like, I can see relatively that I am better than other people in these areas. But you know, what starts as confidence can get taken to its extreme and come off to others as arrogance or elitism. For the ENTJ to be more attractive, they need to tone down what can come across as ego and develop a little humility. Someone who is both confident and humble, most people would agree, is quite attractive. You can know you are the best at something, but still not tell everyone. Now, ESFJs can spend so much time managing and organizing things for the people they care about that they forget to even include themselves in the equation. You know, it's like that person who invites all their friends over for dinner and they spend the whole evening cooking this elaborate meal for everyone, but then they're like just in the kitchen the whole time. It's like, hey, where's the host? I just saw him when I came in. He's poking his head in every once in a while to like put food on the table. Where is he? Because the ESFJs, they just want it to go perfectly, so they won't invest the time to actually enjoy whatever they're doing for others themselves. For ESFJs to be more attractive, they need to remember that they are a part of their friend group or whatever group it is, not just the person who caters to everyone else's needs. Empathy and warmth are the attractive qualities you will find in an ENFJ, whether understanding a complicated emotional problem or supporting you in your time of need. ENFJs are there for you. They'll be like, hey, I heard that you light up a room and you are possibly going... Frank, just stop. What can limit their attractiveness is, ironically, their desire to help. Because ENFJs like to help and support people, sometimes they can be pulled away from their responsibilities or even their relationships to help people that they might not even know that well. This can leave the people who are interested in them feeling like the ENFJs just don't have the time or are too distracted or just like all over the place and, you know, not in the right headspace for anything more than just being friends. It's a big thing about the FJ types who have extroverted feeling that isn't really talked a lot about. Those types will just like abandon responsibilities, not get their work done because they're so focused on the emotion. It's not very J-like, now is it? At least stereotypically. For ENFJs to be more attractive, they just need to remember to divide their time in a way that allows them the chance to still be open to investing in their established relationships. You might have to let someone suffer a little bit so that you can invest in this other person. ISTPs are attractive because of their cool, laid-back, and logical approach to life. They have very practical knowledge. You might call it street smarts. And they can navigate a lot of situations with ease. Although, come to think of it, a lot of ISTPs are book smart as well. They're just smart. A limit to their attractiveness comes from their knowledge and smarts not always being the most transferable. ISTPs will specialize in one or two areas, like engineering or coding, and they don't spend a lot of time doing things outside of those interests. It's not like they can't do other things, like they're actually pretty good at picking up things very quickly. They just choose not to. I know that might seem to go against the stereotype of the ISTP who's just like, oh, they're going between a lot of different stuff all the time. The thing about this type is that they are gathering a lot of information and they don't want to really narrow down the information, but sometimes the info they're gathering is just in like one area. They are like a sponge soaking up everything in that one place and not so much anywhere else. And you know, this can make ISTPs come across as though they are one note to others. They're just a one-trick pony. They're just a one-hit wonder. You know, which is great if that one note is what someone else is looking for, but it can really limit your attractiveness to other people. So to be more attractive, ISTPs just need to learn to be open to learning and exploring topics outside of those areas of their expertise, especially those areas that might not be so ST, you know, like getting your hands into something in the physical world and like figuring out how it all goes together. Maybe try to learn something on the NF side. Maybe a little bit of, I don't know, Reiki healing, a little bit of dark psychology. You got a leg up on the pile because you're watching Frank James. INTP's attractiveness comes from their formidable intellect and problem-solving skills with a Z, as well as their quirky nature. But this can get limited when an INTP gets into a too smart for you type of mindset where they just start to judge people based on their intellectual ability. And you know, sometimes the INTPs aren't even really judging people. It just kind of comes across that way because you're like, oh, you don't know that? Weird. And other people might be like, he thinks I'm dumb. He thinks I'm a fool. You know, being smart is attractive, but being arrogant, or at least coming across as arrogant, isn't. Coming across as a Mr. Know-it-all, smarty pants, egghead, it's not what you want to lead off with your dating profile. It's one of the quickest ways to push away new people, or even old people. Go to a senior living. Why are you going there, Frank? For INTPs to be more attractive, they need to develop patience towards those who might not be as quick-witted as them, or those who don't have all the same knowledge as them. ISFPs are attractive because they are unapologetically themselves and they're deeply passionate. Yet sometimes others can see the ISFP as being too interested in those specific passions and therefore unavailable. It's like, sure, I can talk to you for an hour about like the Beatles' top 10 best hits, but you know, after that it might be fun to like talk about something else, like maybe something that I like. That's the thing about the ISFP, is that if they love something, it's just hard for them to realize that other people might not feel exactly the same way. So for ISFPs to be more attractive, they have to remember not to overpower their interactions with others by obsessing over their own interests. Now, when it comes to emotional depth, INFPs might take the cake. They treat their emotions and values seriously, and their thoughtfulness can be quite attractive to others. What can be unattractive to others is when the INFP doesn't come up for air, if you will. I mean, like, they submerge themselves down in a deeply emotional state for long periods of time, like days or weeks, just reflecting on something. And I mean, that's cool. That's like one of your superpowers, is to be able to like feel the emotions deeply and like process them and like really figure them out. And a lot of times that turns into something amazing, something creative, like a song, a book, or you can even take it into your interactions with others to understand their emotions. But when you're in the midst of those periods of processing, it doesn't look good. I think this is where the INFP gets the bad rap of being like depressed all the time. You're not really depressed, you're just kind of like in the zone. And it can be difficult to kind of like pull an INFP out of that when they get into it. For the INFP to maximize their attractiveness, they just need to be aware of how those periods of intense emotion and processing can come across to others and be off-putting to others. So the INFP needs to like actively try to come to the surface and experience life every so often during those times. Now, you'll find ENTPs are attractive because they're funny, smart, and have a quick wit. Like, they can turn any situation into something new and exciting. What limits their attractiveness is that their mind can be so quick that it forgets the important things in life, like birthdays, important deadlines, even dates in worst case scenarios. And I don't just mean dates on the calendar. I mean like, oh, I'm supposed to go out with Sally to dinner tonight. It's easy to get a little bit put off by someone who forgets to text you back because they were working on a project. Sure, once or twice is forgivable, but when the pattern emerges, many people will start to feel unimportant to you. For ENTPs to maximize their attractiveness, they need to learn to prioritize and keep track of the people in their life who care about them, and to weed out those competing distractions. Life is never dull with an ENFP around, as their most attractive traits are related to their spontaneity and creativity. But what is genuinely natural spontaneity can make other people feel like they are last-minute inclusions if the ENFPs aren't careful. For example, if an ENFP texts someone on Friday night that they want to hang out right then, it can make that person feel like they were just the fallback plan for Friday, because the ENFP would have thought, you would think, to ask a little bit ahead of time and like make a plan if they cared about that person's schedule or time. Of course, for the ENFP, they're like, no, it just came into my head right now and you were the first person I thought of. I really want to hang out with you. But that's not how it comes across. Unless, of course, the other person is an ENFP and they're like, oh my gosh, that's great. But you can't count on that. For the ENFP to be more attractive, they just need to remember that not everyone lives as spontaneously as they do. And sometimes a plan, even just a little one, or like a general idea, or even just like, hey, Friday, put it in your calendar. Maybe we'll do something, not sure what it is, but I'm telling you now, that can go a long way in making someone else feel appreciated. Stoic, reclusive, and focused. The INTJ is often most attractive when they aren't trying to be attractive. Their attractiveness comes from their ability to achieve goals that other people thought were impossible. They tend to be the least attractive when, well, they are trying to be attractive. Like, smooth talking doesn't come too naturally to INTJs, so when they try to attract others in that kind of unnatural way, it can come across as awkward, a bit stilted, maybe even creepy. It's like they go up and try to flirt with someone and they're like, hey, what are your professional goals for the future? Yeah, it's just that doesn't come across very suave. For INTJs to be attractive, they need to do what they do best, focus on those goals, with the added caveat that they can't push people away who might want to help or get involved. Instead of showing false confidence, it's better for an INTJ to show their confidence in an environment where others can see them when they're acting naturally, when they are naturally doing their thing. Much more likely to attract people. INFJs are known for being pretty good at fitting in with almost any group of people. You might hear the INFJs referred to as the chameleon. This is because the INFJs will often say a bunch of stuff that they know will make whomever they're talking to feel good. On the surface, this makes INFJs pretty immediately likable to a wide variety of people because they can lay on the charm. This can be a double-edged sword though, because as people get to know an INFJ more, they may pick up on, hey, all the stuff you're saying, it doesn't really mean anything. It just feels like you're kind of saying what you think we want to hear. This can be interpreted as being a faker-daker, which, if you didn't know, is fairly unattractive. So to be more attractive, INFJs might need to do something counterintuitive, which is don't try to get along with literally everyone. I'm not saying go out and antagonize a bunch of people. I'm not saying go out and make a bunch of enemies. But sometimes putting your own thoughts and opinions out there, even when you know other people are going to disagree and not like it, that can be more attractive than if you just keep laying on the charm, which is ultimately just fluff. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay cool and attractive.
They say strangers come to town. They call